Let's just dive right in. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something genuinely fascinating, the invisible legal machinery that actually keeps global shipping moving smoothly across our oceans. You might picture maritime claims as endless court battles, with seized ships just rusting away in ports and supply chains totally collapsing. But that doesn't happen. Why? Because of a highly structured, honestly brilliant framework of maritime law. Today, we're going to visualize exactly how this works using a simple concept I call the shield and the ticket. We're taking complex legal text and making it super easy to understand at first glance. It's all about balancing financial protection for claimants with the operational freedom ship owners absolutely need to keep global trade flowing brightly and efficiently.
So, here is our visual map for today. We'll be looking at the Maritime Liability Fund, how we go about releasing arrested ships, the rules around compulsory vessel insurance, and finally, the detention consequences for non-compliance.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the Maritime Liability Fund, the ultimate protective shield.
Tucked inside Section 171 of this framework, there is a fundamental legal barrier protecting a shipowner's physical assets from just being entirely dismantled by claims. This is the core concept of constituting a fund. Under Section 168, a shipowner essentially sets aside a dedicated, centralized pool of money specifically designed to cover potential maritime claims. I want you to think of it less like a standard bank account and more like a legally binding force field. Once that money is set aside and the fund is officially constituted, boom, it becomes the definitive financial shield for the shipowner.
And this perfectly illustrates exactly why that shield is so crucial. Before a fund is set up, honestly, it's a bit of a chaotic free-for-all. Anyone with a claim could theoretically go after any vessel or any random piece of property belonging to the shipowner. Just a messy, unpredictable situation. But look what happens after. According to Section 171, subsection 1, the absolute second that fund is constituted, the game changes. Claimants are now strictly barred from exercising their rights against any other vessel or property owned by that shipowner. They literally have to direct their claims solely at the fund. It completely transforms a potential legal nightmare into a bright, organized, and centralized system. So the shield is up. But what actually happens out there in the real world when a ship gets seized or arrested for a claim?
Well, that brings us to Section 2, releasing arrested ships, or, as I like to think of it, unlocking the supply chain.
Let's break down this beautifully straightforward 1-2-3 legal logic under Section 171, subsection 2. Step 1. The protective fund is constituted. Step 2. A claim is made that could legally be raised against this specific fund. Step 3. If a vessel or other property belonging to the shipowner happens to be arrested or attached, or if they've had to put up security, the High Court steps in and immediately orders its release. Just like that, the physical ship is freed up to get back out to sea and keep the global economy moving.
Now, pay attention to the specific language the law uses here, because it's absolutely key. It doesn't say the court might order the release or could order it on a good day. The text explicitly mandates that such release shall always be ordered by the High Court. And get this, that applies whether the fund was constituted with that exact same High Court, any other High Court, or even directly with the central government. It is an absolute rock-solid certainty. It's designed to give shipowners total confidence that if they play by the rules and set up the fund, their physical ships simply won't be held hostage.
But, this shield isn't just handed out blindly. There are rules to make sure the whole system stays fair and actually works. Section 171, subsection 3, lays out two really vital conditions that absolutely must be met for this release to happen. First up, the claimant has to actually make their claim before the specific High Court or central government that is administering that particular fund. You can't just file it anywhere. You've got to go straight to the source. Second, and this is massive, the fund must be actually available and freely transferable in respect of that claim. The legal shield literally only works if the money is real, accessible, and not tied up in bureaucratic red tape. The cash has to be ready to go.
Now that naturally leads us to a pretty massive question. We know the fund acts as a great shield, but how do we guarantee that these massive shipping operations can actually pay up and constitute these funds in the first place? Where does that financial security come from before a disaster even strikes?
That leads right into Section 3, compulsory vessel insurance, the ticket to sail.
Section 172, subsection 1 lays this out perfectly, and it's designed to be completely airtight. Whether you're a registered owner of an Indian vessel operating anywhere on the globe, or a foreign vessel entering an Indian port, departing an Indian port, or honestly just operating in coastal waters, the requirement is exactly the same across the board. Compulsory insurance. you must maintain compulsory insurance or some other prescribed financial security from an approved insurer. Long story short, you cannot play in these waters without this ticket.
And they definitely don't just let you buy the cheapest, bare-bones policy available either. The framework is incredibly specific about the math required for this ticket. According to Section 172, subsection 3, the insurance amount for each and every vessel, per incident, has to be massive enough to cover all the bases. It must be at least equal to the relevant maximum amount for the limitation of liability for general maritime claims, which is outlined under Section 165. But wait, that's not all. If applicable, it must also include the relevant maximum amount for passenger claims falling under Section 166. This ensures that no matter how bad a single incident might be, the financial ticket is large enough to cover the maximum possible legal liability. Which of course brings us to another critical question. What happens if someone tries to cheat the system and operate without their mandatory ticket?
Well, let's look at Section 4, Detention for Non-Compliance. The consequences?
The law really does not mince words here. Section 172, subsection 4 states it crystal clear. Any vessel departing a port in India in contravention of this section shall be liable to be detained by such authority as may be prescribed, period. If you try to leave port without the proper insurance, without that mandatory financial ticket, your ship stops right there. You are detained. It's an immediate, strict, and highly effective consequence that ensures total compliance across the entire maritime industry.
And honestly, this reveals the true elegance of this entire framework. When you step back and really look at it, it is a remarkably fair and safe system. The compulsory insurance, the ticket, ensures that ships always have the financial backing to pay for damages or incidents. Meanwhile, the liability fund, the shield, protects ship owners from having their entire fleets or external businesses dismantled by one single claim. Together, they create a bright, predictable environment that keeps global trade moving smoothly, safely, and super efficiently across our oceans.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? We've just visualized how an incredibly complex, high-stakes global industry manages liability through these beautifully structured mechanisms. So I'll leave you with this final thought. If a simple legal shield and ticket can untangle global maritime chaos so effectively, what other complex global industries could be fixed with this exact same blueprint? Think about that for a bit. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope you found this framework as fascinating as I do.